Shifting focus for now, the U.S. Navy has decided to add a new weapon to its arsenal in the South China Sea. And this is not just any weapon. It could prove to be a game changer. The AIM-174B, an air-to-air missile with the longest range ever fielded by the U.S., could significantly reduce China's aerial superiority, a factor that has long, in a way, tipped the scales in Beijing's favor. Now, for years, the Chinese military, with its growing fleet of advanced aircraft and long-range missiles, has posed a substantial challenge to the U.S. and its allies in the region. But now, with the introduction of the AIM-174B, reports state that America has a tool that could not only level the playing field, but potentially tilt it in its favor. Let's just break this down for you. As per reports, this missile has a reach of up to 400 kilometers, far more than China's PL-15 missile that has a reach of up to 250 kilometers. The AIM-174B's range means the U.S. planes can actually engage Chinese targets from a safer distance, effectively keeping critical assets like aircraft carriers out of harm's way, while still being able to strike at the heart of Chinese military operations. Now, until now, the U.S. Navy has had to operate in extremely close proximity to Chinese forces, especially in the highly contested South China Sea and the first island chain. And this has always been a risky proposition. As per reports, the standard AIM-120 missile, with its range of just 150 kilometers, required U.S. planes to venture deep into contested airspace, exposing them to significant dangers. But with the AIM-174B, U.S. aircraft can strike from much farther away, greatly reducing the risk to both the planes and the carriers they launch from. But you see, this is not just about safety. It's also about strategic advantages, of course. In any potential conflict over Taiwan or in the South China Sea, the ability to engage from a distance changes the calculations. Chinese planes, particularly those tasked with hunting down U.S. carriers, would now be operating in a far more dangerous environment. An expert said that the Chinese planes may have to think twice before approaching, knowing that they could be shot down long before they get within the range of their targets. As per reports, this development could increase the likelihood of U.S. involvement in any major conflict in the region. With the AIM-174B in their arsenal, the U.S. can actually push deeper into contested areas, making it far more difficult for China to assert its dominance. This missile gives the U.S. the ability to hold Chinese aircraft at risk from a distance, something that was not possible before. And that is going to force China to rethink its strategy. As per reports, the AIM-174B has several key advantages over its predecessors. First, like we mentioned, its range far exceeds that of the AIM-120 missile, America's previous long-range option. But beyond that, the AIM-174B does not require new production lines. It is compatible with the existing platforms, meaning that it can be deployed relatively quickly and at a lower cost than developing an entirely new missile system. Not just that, it is allegedly compatible with at least one key ally's aircraft, Australia. And speaking of Australia, this missile also strengthens America's position in its partnership with Canberra. Australia, remember, is a critical ally in the Indo-Pacific, and America is heavily investing in military infrastructure there, recognizing the strategic importance of the continent in projecting power in the South China Sea. The AIM-174B's compatibility with Australian aircraft means that the US and Australia could collaborate more closely on regional defense strategies, further bolstering the alliance and making it more difficult for China to operate freely in the region. For decades, the US maintained its aerial superiority largely through its stealth fighters, like the F-22 and the F-35. And the AIM-120 was more than sufficient to maintain that edge. But with the advent of Chinese stealth aircraft, like the J-20 and the long-range PL-15 missile, that advantage has been eroded. A Chinese J-20 could potentially detect and engage US aircraft from a distance where the US could not effectively respond, putting American pilots at serious risk. And the development of the AIM-174B is a direct response to this threat. You see, the US needed a missile that could match, if not exceed, the capabilities of the PL-15, and they might just have got it now. But the race is not over. As per reports, China is already working on missiles with even longer ranges. However, those efforts come with significant challenges, particularly in terms of targeting. The farther a missile has to travel, the more difficult it is to maintain accurate targeting data. And as it stands, the AIM-174B is not yet being produced in large numbers, but even in limited quantities, its impact is profound. The mere presence of this missile in the US Navy's arsenal may force China to reconsider its strategies and its approach to regional conflicts. The US has essentially introduced a new variable into the equation, one that makes any potential aggression in the South China Sea or against Taiwan far riskier for Beijing. In an increasingly tense region where the potential for conflict is always simmering just below the surface, this missile could very well be the difference between victory and defeat and could prove to be a game changer. And for China, that is a reality they will have to reckon with. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.